Out there, beyond the developed world, there are some truly alternative diets.
It's green. No, don't.
Strange techniques for diagnosing illness.
That really is burning.
Brutal ways of healing. And very different ways of dealing with pain.
I mean, that is absolutely amazing, isn't it?
My name is Chris van Tulleken, and this is my brother, Xand. We're both doctors, and we're also identical twins. Trained in tropical medicine, we are ideally suited to go and experiment with life beyond the reach of paracetamol and Prozac. And to find what, if anything, our world can learn from an older way of doing things. This part of our journey takes us to the Peruvian Amazon to discover why the indigenous Asháninka people use toxic hallucinogens as medicine. We get first-hand experience of some very nasty members of the plant kingdom and are forced to question everything we know about diagnosis and illness. This is where the Amazon rainforest starts climbing toward the high Andes. With 40,000 species of plant discovered so far, this is one of the most biodiverse places on the planet. The people here use many of these plants as medicines, but principal among them is ayahuasca, vine of the soul. Used for both diagnosis and treatment, it causes fierce hallucinations. And, like many of the other medicinal plants here, it makes you sick. On the western side of the South American continent, Peru straddles the Andes, but its eastern edge extends deep into the Amazon basin. We're starting our investigation into forest poisons in the town of Tarapoto. We're here because the traditional medicines are migrating out of the forest, and some people are using the toxic plants of the Amazon basin to treat drug addiction. In an attempt to understand why, I'm going to rehab.
In this garden, basically, you have all the purgative plants that they are used in Takiwasi.
Takiwasi is a rehabilitation centre for drug addicts. Francois shows us around the garden where they grow the more than 50 different plants they use here.
This plant is yawarpanga. Yawarpanga is the strongest purge that you will find here. And yawar and quechua is blood. And when you press, you see that it's red, no?
It cleans the blood.
Yeah, it cleans all the bad information that we all have, in the blood. So it's a general cleaning process.
And this is what I'm going to take.
This is what you're going to take, and this is the ritual, the welcoming ritual in Takiwasi,
Will it have any psychological or emotional effects on me?
Yeah, definitely. You're purging, physically speaking, bad things, but also emotions, like frustrations, hate, anger, a lot of things, The purge is a different, there are many levels of seeing a purge, The
Takiwasi addicts are all resident for up to 9 months, during which they undergo various therapies. But everything starts with the purge. Jaime Torres, the centre's director, prepares the poisonous yawarpanga doses. From what I've heard, this is going to be pretty rough. But I'm fascinated by the idea that purging can help with addictions and psychological problems.
Bueno, entonces, 3 jarros de agua, más o menos 2 horas, ¿no?
As Jaime explains how we should drink as much water as we can from the plastic jugs, I'm beginning to get slightly worried. But this is the only way to truly understand the effects of this drug. This may be poison, but it's never killed anyone. After 20 minutes, my body does what it's meant to do when I ingest poisons.
Everyone talks about it being cathartic, and it does really look cathartic. It looks, in a way, extremely satisfying. The sound effects are quite good as well.
Jaime takes a break from chanting to fumigate us all. In traditional Amazonian shamanism, tobacco smoke is purifying. For 2 horrific hours, I can barely think. It's just me, the jug, and the bucket. But eventually, it does all come to an end. Almost. If only I was feeling a little stronger, I'd show Jaime exactly where to blow his sacred cigar smoke.
Did you confront all your inner demons? When you were puking, were you puking up your soul and your evil spirits and your bad bits of you? Was it a journey back to childhood?
I don't know if no. And I tried, like they said, think about things that you want to get rid of emotionally, and I did a bit of that, and then
Did you puke up an ex-girlfriend?
I tried to. I tried to taste like it. Fucking taste like it.
The following day, as we start the next stage of our journey deep into the Amazon rainforest, I'm feeling purged, battered, and bruised. After a 3-hour flight south to Atalaya, we set off on a 2-day journey up the Rio Tambo and then the Rio Ene. We're heading for the village of Tinkarini, home to the indigenous Asháninka people. After 48 uncomfortable hours on a boat, we begin a 16-kilometre trek through the rainforest. The sheer volume of plant matter in the rainforest takes some getting used to. It seems everywhere there's something growing and competing for space. But then it's thought 30% of the world's plant species live here. After 5 hours, there's a sudden break in the trees, and we've reached the village of Tinkarini.
It's just lovely. It's amazing. Not as crowded as...
A huge bowl of a surprisingly pink liquid is brought out to refresh us.
Have a go. Try it yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fermín, Chávez, aquí los doctores, Chris y Alex.
It's nice. It's quite a funny, yogurty almost. What's it made of, Dylan?
It's made of manioc, which is the staple food here. The women bring it in, boil it up, chew it, spit it into a big pot, beat it up.
Has everything in this pot been chewed by someone else and spat into the
Probably
world?
by several different women in this village.
So we've had a more intimate greeting than perhaps you might expect.
This strange pink beer, fermented in spit, feels like a gentle introduction to a very different world. Next morning, we have our first encounter with Asháninka medicine. Noemi, the woman who greeted us on our arrival, does not claim to be a shaman, but she does act as this village's principal healer. She's preparing what she calls a vapor treatment for a village woman called Anna.
Those rocks really are ferociously hot, aren't they? Anna, why are we doing this treatment?
Me siento enferma. Por esto haciendo vapor para que salga de lo que hace mal.
So this is diagnosis, not treatment.
It looks like a steam inhalation treatment of some sort. But once it's over, Noemi is much more interested in the leaves she put in the bottom of the pot.
The cut leaf represent the leaf cutter ant. The sort of indistinguishable, that bit, represents the illness itself, and it tells them that she's been bewitched.
Bewitched, okay. Okay, so having initially drawn some parallel between the way we inhale drugs, I'm now, this falls completely outside of anything I understand in terms of leaf cutter ants and spirits, and so quite quickly my way of trying to understand this breaks down, doesn't it?
There's clearly a lot more going on here than just a herbal sauna, and we're reeling slightly as Noemi takes us to see a child with a swelling on its neck. She says the same type of ants are responsible.
Hello.
Xand immediately starts an examination.
Around the mastoid process, really. Big swelling behind this ear.
If this baby was in England, well, I'd do an ultrasound and see what was going on. It might need drainage, and then I'd give it some antibiotics. Here it's slightly more difficult. I mean, what's interesting is it actually looks like quite a well child with a swelling on its neck, rather than a child with an abscess that's really septic and unwell. And it's quite happy when I'm not bothering it. It's quite happy.
The baby's family have already acted on Noemi's diagnosis.
It
was bad for 3 weeks, and then now it's suddenly better in the last 24 hours.
We're both disturbed by the idea that leafcutter ant spirits cause disease.
I attach about as much credence to the steam diagnosis or to the leafcutter ants as I do to Gypsy Lee or horoscopes or crystal balls.
I'm not saying in any way that I can understand that leafcutter ants are making people sick. I'm just saying I suspect there's another level of complexity, or there's some. I'm just saying your position is that it's daft to go and do this to the leafcutter ants, and my position is there may be some unintended consequence of this belief in the leafcutter ants. If the treatment were going and killing rats, you'd go, well, clearly it's the rats that cause the disease, and that's a good thing to kill rats.
To me, I can see an obvious harm.
I just feel like there might be something you're missing.
The next morning, in an attempt to understand what Noemi is doing, I ask her to investigate me with a vapour treatment. It's surprisingly unpleasant.
You think I'm going to be diagnosed with very badly burned feet and
Get down, get down. Come on, get down. Yeah, I'll get it at the back here. There we go. Well, it is a bit warm under there, isn't it?
yeah.
That really is burning.
After a good 5 minutes of painful steaming, Noemi starts her diagnosis.
Am I done?
And I start to feel strangely worried.
I feel now like the patient waiting for his test results. I'm just a bit alarmed by the biggest bee I've ever seen. Maybe I should put bees in my waiting room to distract people before I tell them bad news.
Even though I'm feeling perfectly healthy, when she picks up a short, dark twig, I get peculiarly anxious.
It's possible that someone has done you some harm on a sort of witchcraft level, but she's not sure where it comes from, whether it doesn't come from here. It might come from your journey here or from your home country. There are 2 treatments. One is you do more vapours and it comes out bit by bit, but she also thinks this is something that she could cure with ayahuasca, with camarampi, which is what they call ayahuasca here.
This is really exciting. Ayahuasca is one of the cornerstones of medical treatment for almost all the Amazonian peoples. And for thousands of years, it has been central to Asháninka culture. Noemi says it will not only remove my evil spell, but will also help me understand the relationship between the spirit world and the physical world.
Kametsa amma yetta kero urasia yettirali. Ura. Te usin tana ke. Anke ma yetta wa kero usin kire okame. Amma kure pe usin kire. Iri hatta te me hamenira ka kire chapes ihata ihata.
The ayahuasca vine contains no hallucinogens. What it does have is something called an enzyme inhibitor that prevents your body from breaking down amines. When the crushed vine is boiled up with the leaves of Psychotria viridis, which contain the hallucinogenic amine, DMT, the resulting brew is fiercely hallucinogenic.
How did you discover that if you take the two plants together, they have this amazing effect?
Paiten acharinate. Iri take io tiro niri. Iri take kono antari. Meka kia menaro. Meka kia naro no wa kiri naro yukwate mashita na kiri peran. Yukwate me usaite niri me yukwake mpeta chari me yuro usaite ni pukure. Tiri. Nyau kampai kandiri. Pureka.
Although it's meant to be curing me of my bewitching, it turns out that taking ayahuasca is a group activity. Noemi and her husband Ricardo have already had some. It is, bar none, the most disgusting thing I have ever tasted. Bitter, rotting, and acrid. For 20 minutes there is little effect. Then I begin to feel a bit queasy. After 30 minutes, I'm on the brink of vomiting. But I'm called to take my second dose. I mustn't be sick on Noemi. Noemi and Ricardo sing spiritual chants or icaros to help focus our minds. It's a beautiful sound, but I'm not feeling too good. Xand's sober presence is very comforting. And having been sick, I immediately feel better. I'm now acutely aware of sounds. Above and around the chanting, the forest insects coalesce with the noise of the river until it feels like there are a million bees hovering just above my head. My visions become stronger and more vivid. The enjoyable, colourful swirling patterns become a bizarre landscape full of small demons and people dying in hot lava that pours from between the thighs of giant headless women squatting on the tops of ancient ziggurats. After a couple of hours, the images fade into my dreams, and I fall asleep. The next morning, I feel that I've experienced something rather amazing, but I'm having difficulty sharing it with Xand.
You do see some things more clearly, and there was a dreamlike quality to that these things were very fleeting, and I'd have very good ideas or very creative ideas that I think really were quite interesting and creative, but they've almost all gone now. And even minute to minute in the sort of dream with my eyes shut, it was quite hard to keep a track on things. It was these very elusive thoughts. But I could see how it would lead you into really interesting places, and you have thoughts that you otherwise probably couldn't have. And the world would be a different place if everyone took ayahuasca.
What I've heard from everyone who's ever taken hallucinogenic drugs is that it makes you more creative and it prompts interesting thoughts. What I've never heard is any interesting thoughts from anyone. And you haven't told me anything interesting this morning. Other than that, I'm really interested in you.
You're right. I can't really argue with that.
I'm still a very long way from believing in harmful ant spirits. But the ayahuasca session was unsettlingly different to anything I've gone through before. Later that morning, Xand pays a house call on Maraima, the baby with the swelling on her neck. Ominously, the swelling has grown again.
It could be an infection, and it's very, very hard. It feels like a squash ball, which suggests that it may not be an infection. And if it's not an infection, then there's a variety of different things it could be, one of which is a tumour. And if it's a tumour, then there's absolutely nothing we can do.
Xand wants to give Maraima an antibiotic, just in case it is an abscess. And thankfully, her parents agree.
These are my magic shamanic stones. We didn't bring a pill crusher. So we're going to try making a paste and just putting it on her mum's finger.
With a swelling this size in England, we'd be calling for blood tests and scans and contemplating surgery. Here we can only give broad-spectrum antibiotics and wait. There are few shaman left here because most were killed by the fiercely anti-religious Shining Path terrorist group for whom the area was a stronghold. But there is one old shaman 25 kilometers further into the jungle, and we're going to see him. Before we leave, we check up on Maraima.
Hello, Maraima.
But even after 3 days of antibiotics, the swelling on her neck has only got bigger. Her parents don't believe our pills are working.
It could be something else, but it might be one of the things that was cured by tablets.
We're going up to Alta Coveja to see the shaman. Would they be interested in coming?
We're disappointed not to be able to do more for Maraima. I'm still hoping the shaman's traditional knowledge may have something to offer. During the walk, I considered the ant problem. It's impossible for us to get our heads around what is going on here. We came expecting to learn about and understand herbal medicines, but what we're finding is an utterly different way of thinking about health and healing that is inextricably bound up with the spirit world. I hope the shaman can help us understand this more fully. Four hours into our journey, we come to a halt. We found a column of leafcutter ants. Exactly what Maraima's parents were concerned about. The pieces of cut leaf are used back at the nest to grow a fungus that they then feed to the colony's larvae.
quite amazing, isn't it? I want to go and see the tree, which is presumably disappearing as you watch. Doesn't seeing them care about this at least give you some sympathy with the Asháninka regarding them as spiritually important? They are pretty fantastic, but people built Manhattan and the ants are building their little Manhattan over there somewhere, and it's very impressive, but you don't need magic to do it. You need a lot of hard work.
Despite Xand's cynicism, the ants' blind, single-minded and unstoppable purpose is impossible to dismiss. Late that afternoon, we arrive at the village of Alto Caveja and a welcoming committee. According to Dilwyn, only 3 other Europeans have come this far into Asháninka territory, and the sight of 2 identical 6-footers seems to be a bit of a draw. The shaman's name is Luis.
Chris. Alex.
We've come to learn from him, but the first thing he does is to ask us to look at an axe wound on his foot.
I think if I cut my foot open with an axe in this environment, I would expect it to be horribly infected and in a total mess. And in fact, it is grimy, but it's nothing other than grimy. He's been treating it with traditional remedies, including stuff that he's drunk and stuff that he's washed the wound with. And as far as I can see, he's doing a very good job.
Xand asks if he takes anything for pain. It seems he doesn't treat pain as a different issue. Cure the foot and the pain will stop. Luis is the first shaman I've met, and there's something about him that I really like.
It was very funny meeting Luis for the first time, because the first thing he did was ask us to have a look at his foot, which I actually thought was a really positive thing. It shows he's practical, and I think asking for help is always a sign of a good doctor, even if they're the Regis professor. And perhaps he was testing us a bit, all of which I think boded very well for him, hopefully being open to the idea of giving us some knowledge or exchanging some knowledge.
The next morning, there's a column of army ants marching through camp. But there's no time to waste. A man with open sores on his arm has appeared in the village, and Luis takes us straight off into the forest to get some drugs. He stops at a huge vine. This is Una di Gatto, the cat's claw vine.
Yeah, well, that's very clearly a cat's claw, isn't it? And
coincidentally, this particular forest remedy is one of an increasing number that have made it to the West. Cat's claw extract has been available in Britain for 30 years. Luis collects only the bark. Back at camp, he crushes it and soaks it in hot water. Luis seems confident that the cat's claw solution will heal these nasty sores.
One of the very interesting things, Luis, about you using cat's claw is that in fact we use cat's claw in England as well, and it was brought from Peru about 30 years ago. And the jury's still a bit out as to whether or not it does work, but some people really swear by it.
Cat's claw is available in health stores throughout the West. It's claimed to help everything, from upset stomachs to arthritis, even AIDS and cancer. Xand is keen to find out what the people who discovered it think it can do.
In England, the main way it's taken is as tablets. And you can either swallow the tablets or you can make it as tea.
Is that something that you'd ever do? Would you ever get a patient to drink the stuff that you've just brewed just now? Would you use it for anything else? Like, would you use it for example, if you had pain in your joints? No. And would you use it to treat very severe disease? People who are very ill with fever, for example? No, he wouldn't use it to treat very severe disease. That's quite interesting. Well, there you have it, straight from the shaman's mouth.
The next day, in what is apparently a regular event, the whole village is going to take ayahuasca. Luis takes Xand and me to collect some of the vine of the soul. He leads us straight to one, but the tree it's growing up has an ant's nest at its base. Luis approaches carefully, because these are bullet ants. Known locally as Isula ants, their sting, according to the Schmidt Sting Pain Index, is the most painful in the world. It's incapacitating for up to 5 hours and only stops after 24.
I'm really much more frightened of these ants than I am of bushmaster snakes or anything else.
In cases of multiple stings, bullet ants can kill.
Xand and I spent all last night having waking dreams about trying to get ants out of the sleeping area.
God.
Okay, right, I've had enough of this, let's go.
Luis is rather braver than Xand and me, but it'll be interesting to see what effects this ant-infested ayahuasca will have. Later that night, I quiz Luis about the drug.
Do you take it because it's nice, or do you take it for a purpose? Since we came here, a lot of people have said that sickness comes from ants and ant spirits. Do you think ayahuasca can help me understand how ants cause illness?
I suppose he's saying I shouldn't analyse it all so much. Just lie back and enjoy the ride. I was worried, but Luis's brew doesn't taste as foul as Noemi's. As the drug takes effect, the echoes start. The sound of the singing is enormously comforting. My visions are subtle and creative, not as powerful as before. Hoping for a moment of insight, I try to focus on ant spirits and the swelling on Maraima's neck. But nothing concrete comes. No plants or spirits speak to me. Instead, I drift gently off to sleep.
I didn't have visions of ants. I had quite mild, a little bit psychedelic, not a lot of colour. It was very different to last time. I didn't feel very sick. But it was completely consistent with what Louise said the point of it was, which was it was enjoyable. And is it good for you? Well, probably if you've got a belly full of parasites, it is really good for you. I had to get up twice and have a crap. So it felt like we sort of got it straight from the horse's mouth, that it's a nice thing to do, and it might make you a bit healthier.
We're due to return to Tinkarini, but before we set off, Xand is keen to speak to Luis about Moraima. He wants to know if he can recommend any treatments, other than the burning of ants' nests.
What she's got is a sort of a big lump about this size under the left side of her jaw, which is hot and very painful. Are there any treatments other than destroying leafcutter ant nests and vapour treatments that you might have for a problem that sounds like that?
That's excellent. Thank you very much. Pasanke, Louise.
It's time for us to return to Tinkarini and Moraima. After a long trek down through the jungle, we arrive in the village. We show Noemi the leaves we've brought back from Luis for Moraima.
Do you think this treatment's likely to work?
As suggested by Luis, Noemi prepares a vapour treatment with the baby held inside a robe.
So that's really good, isn't it? I had no idea how they were going to get steam on the baby, but that is at least a fairly good solution to the problem.
Noemi examines the leftover leaves, searching for new clues about the illness. The steam doesn't appear to have had any immediate effect on the swelling. Now, Noemi believes the illness comes not from the spirits of leafcutter ants, but from the spirits of Isula ants. Xand's not impressed.
It's utterly daft. It's just moved the goalposts again. It's another load of destroying ants. The leafcutter ant destruction has done no good whatsoever, and since that isn't working, it's now been shifted onto the Isula ants, and I just don't see this is in any way getting closer to the solving of a problem.
The next morning, we're ready to head home. We stop on the way to see how Moraima is after the treatment. When we arrive, we hear that her father was out all night burning an isula ant nest.
Oh, look at Maraima. Shabani Maraima. Is that drained?
Yeah. Oh, that was bloody excellent, isn't it?
The swelling has proved to be an abscess that has opened and drained.
Well, that's really good. And that's still a very happy, well girl. It's good, eh? God, I'm really impressed with that.
Well, the cause of Maraima's abscess from Mum and Dad's point of view was isula ants, in a way that I'm a bit vague about, but Luis's leaves seem to have revealed that as the problem. The Dad went and burned a load of isula ants, and we see Maraima with a much reduced drained abscess. So I think it's Asháninka medicine 1 and Xand 9-0.
Yeah, I mean, this is a thing that I'd never see in England, would be a baby just left with an abscess for that long and what happens to it. And it would seem that the answer is, at least in some cases, you end up with a well baby and a draining abscess. And she's not out of the woods yet, but she does look an awful lot better.
Whether Maraima recovered because Luis gave us the right leaves, or because the ant spirits finally left her alone, or indeed because she was going to recover anyway, is impossible to tell. But what I have learned here is that when you live beyond medicine, with no science, in an environment as filled with threats as this, when you get ill, the only way to deal with your impotence in the face of that illness is to blame things that are beyond your control. The spirits.
Muchas gracias.
And you need to appoint someone to try and engage with those spirits.
Hey, Naomi.
The healers and shamans of South America have embraced the toxicity of the plants they live amongst, not only to purge their patients of parasites, but also through the hallucinogens to provide a way of accessing and even befriending some of those uncontrollable and unpredictable spirits.